Welcome to the Gentu Tips and Tricks webinar. My name is Alan, and I also have Megan here. We are both trainers based in Melbourne, and we will be presenting the webinar to you this afternoon. Before we start our webinar today, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the lands on which we meet today. From Melbourne, home of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung and the Bunurong Boonwurrung peoples of the Eastern Kulin. And I would like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Today, we'll be covering a few topics, which include tips and tricks in the admin workflow and the clinical workflow. At the end of the session, we will have time for Q&As. So to start off with, admin workflow. So our first tip of the day is how to load Gentu straight into the appointment book. Please note, as a reminder, we recommend that you use Chrome to access Gentu. First off, we want to enable the bookmarks bar along the top here by going to the three dots in the top right-hand corner, clicking on bookmarks and show bookmarks bar. Make sure Gentu is open to the appointment book and then click on the star icon to the right of the address. Rename the bookmark accordingly and click on Done. That will now save the Gentu appointments in our bookmarks. A very common question that we get asked is whether you can open numerous Gentu screens at the same time. Because we access Gentu via a browser, we can open up as many tabs or windows as required. A good scenario of this would be to have your appointment book open along with your patient record. Or from a clinical perspective, the doctor may want to open up two patient records at the same time. Firstly, find the link you would like to open, in this example, the patient record from the patient's appointment. Right-click on the link and choose Open Link in New tab or window. This will open the tab along the top. Alternatively, if you have a scroll button on your mouse, you can click on the scroll button and this will open the link automatically, saving you an additional click. The next tip that we have here is you can actually reorder providers' appointment columns. If you have multiple providers practicing, you can rearrange the doctor columns by simply clicking on the 6 dots next to the doctor's name and dragging and dropping them into position. This will instantly reorder the actual appointment columns in your appointment book. Another great tip is how you can use the all-day notes in the appointment book. If your doctor works on a fortnightly or a 4-weekly roster, it could be useful to have the week numbers appear at the top of the appointment book. When setting up the schedule, we generally recommend to view the appointment book in week mode. That way, you can easily apply the schedule across numerous days of the week without having to flick between days. So in the appointment book, click on the button with the 3 dots and select Set Up Schedule. Once in the schedule view, we want to then click on the all-day space and enter in the week number, recurring, select weekly, and enter in your interval and click on Save. If you would like this week 1 title to appear on each day in your day mode, you will need to apply this for each day of the week. Other text that you might consider to add into your all-day notes include public holidays, or on a theatre day, you might list the anaesthetist or the assistant that is operating with our doctor. As you can see, we then have our week 1 on Mondays and Tuesdays in this example. The next trick often gets overlooked. It is as simple as dragging and dropping. You will come across many patients who change their minds and wants to move their appointment. Or you may have selected the wrong date and time when booking a new patient appointment. There are two ways in which you can move appointments in Gentu. Simply click, drag, drop the patient's appointment and confirm. Or if you're in the week mode, you can drag it across over to the Friday as so and confirm. If you would like to move the appointment to another week though, click on the patient's appointment, then browse to the calendar, go to the week that you would like. You can move the appointment panel to the side so you can see what's underneath. Once you've found the day, change the start and the start date and the start time accordingly. Click on save. And that instantly moves the appointment across to the Friday. As a specialist, it is not uncommon for doctors' appointment books to be booked out weeks or months in advance. Therefore, a waitlist may be required to help manage your patient appointments. To start, click on the patient's existing appointment and then tick on waitlist. Enter in the priority, specify the days the patient prefers to come in, and any additional notes as required. Click on save. Alternatively, if the patient does not have an appointment booked in, you can add the patient directly to the list by clicking on the three dots in the top right-hand corner and selecting waitlist. This will show you a list of your current patients on your waitlist. To add patients to this list, click on add. Search for the patient's name. Specify the priority. Choose the provider who the patient wants to see. Select the days that the patient wants to come in. And once again, any additional notes, and then click on save. This will now display a list of said patients. You can remove the provider from the top left to view all patients for all your providers. So leading on from our last tip, we now have someone who's cancelled their appointments, and we are now wanting to fill that gap with a patient from our waitlist. What we want to do is locate the actual day and time of that cancelled appointment. Click on the empty time. Underneath the patient search, you'll have select patient from waitlist. This displays any available patients that are wanting to come in. You can prioritize based on the little colored circles on the left. You can review when the next appointment is, any notes that the patient may have provided, then call the patient up using the phone number underneath the name. If the patient agrees, click on their name and confirm. This now moves the appointment straight across to the new day, new time. Another quick tip, you can also resize or readjust the time by simply dragging the bar underneath the patient's appointment. Our second last admin tip is how to use your admin notes in the patient record. Traditionally, admin notes tend to get recorded by practices as a consult note. Consult notes should only be used to record clinical specific notes relevant to the doctor's consults. The admin notes in Gentu is where we can store non-clinical related notes and messages, such as left voicemail, or tried to contact the patient, or maybe patient did not pay. In the patient's record, click on the little notepad icon to the right next to the add button and click on the little plus symbol. Enter in the title. So in this example, we are going to use NCV, not COVID vax. We generally don't recommend that you use the full text, primarily because the patients may see this on the screen. Once saved, hover the mouse over the new note and click on the little flag icon. This will now add the NCV flag to the top of the patient's record. Please note that you can only flag one note at a time. If you'd like to add additional notes, simply edit by clicking on the little pencil icon and adding in your additional text. And then click on Update. The last and final admin tip is generating a quote using billing sets and possibly taking an electronic deposit via patient payments. Open the patient's appointment and then click on Add. Select Quote from the list. This will now open up a quote. Specify the account. If we're billing to a health fund, we select Health Fund. Confirm whether it's a no gap or known gap. Enter in your item codes, or in this example, we will add in a billing set. So microdisc, which will come up with 2 item codes automatically. We want to then verify and apply the gap. And if we scroll down, we can then either click on print or email. This will print or email a statement with the patient's with the following pay online QR code that patients can pay for their deposits online in their own time. Please note that the same QR code will print out on any unpaid invoices or statements. So theoretically, patients can pay their account in their own time without having to contact the practice. The QR code function is only available if you are using patient payments through Easy Debits. That now concludes the first part of our tips and tricks in Gentu. I will now pass you on to Megan, who will talk to you about the clinical workflow.
Thanks, Alan. Now we will have a look at a few features that can possibly help to streamline your clinical workflows. The first feature we'll look at is notifications. Notifications help to bring your attention to new information and tasks in your Gentu system. If you've turned on notifications in Gentu, you'll notice a bell icon in the top right-hand corner of your screen next to your name. If you haven't turned on this feature in Gentu and you do wish to receive notifications, you can easily set this up for your user login by going into Settings, under the My Account section, select Notifications. Turn on the option to receive notifications and select the type of notifications you'd like to receive. Gentu allows you to receive notifications for a to-do received, comments on a to-do sent, and for incoming diagnostic reports. If you have any notifications, there'll be a pink badge displayed alongside the bell icon to advise how many new notifications you have. When you click on the bell, you'll receive a list of all of your notifications. Those that are new will have a pink dot to indicate that these are new notifications. And after clicking on the bell, these notifications will no longer be considered new, and the pink dots will disappear. And these notifications will now be considered unread. Both new and unread notifications will have a blue highlight against them. And those notifications which have been read do not have a highlight and will appear white in the list. The second tip we'll have a look at is how you can save some extra clicks by reordering the tabs at the top of the patient record. The tabs in the patient record can be arranged into an order that best suits your particular workflow. Whichever tab is listed first is the page that will open when you access the patient record. To move the order of these tabs, simply click on the tab you wish to move and drag it into the new position. This is user specific and will hold for all patient records when you're logged in. By default, the patient details tab is ordered first. However, if you're part of the clinical staff, you may wish to click and drag the clinical tab to the start of the list so that all patient files open straight to the clinical tab. In addition to each of these tabs in the patient record, there's also a patient header present at the top of the page. This header allows you to view a number of demographic details and should stay in a fixed position at the top of the screen. The patient header can be expanded or collapsed with the arrow icon, depending on the information you wish to view at the time. Next, we'll have a look at how to flag an adverse reaction or allergy for a patient. Just as Alan demonstrated how to flag an admin note, you can also flag an adverse reaction for a patient. If a patient has any known allergies or reactions, you can include these in the Adverse Reactions module in the Clinical tab. To add a reaction for a patient, select the plus icon and the new adverse reaction will open for you. Enter the name of the reaction. Click on that plus, enter the name of the reaction. You can search for the reaction, the severity, and that'll be saved under our adverse reaction section. If you hover over the option, you'll be able to click on the flag icon and it will appear, that allergy will appear at the top of the window in the patient record. Another benefit of flagging these reactions is that they'll also appear on any of our theatre lists when this patient is booked for surgery. A feature that some users may not know about is that in Gentu, you also have the ability to annotate the clinical contacts for a patient. The Notes feature allows you to write a summary or a short comment for quick reference. There are no limits on the text you can enter, but for a note, only one note can be added per item. These notes can be added via the Clinical tab for a specific patient, or via the Results and Letters tab when you're reviewing incoming results, incoming letters, or outgoing letters. From a patient file, a note can be added against a consultation, a letter, a result, a procedure, an attachment, and even a pregnancy record. When a note has been added to an item, a pink note message will appear against that item, and the note will preview at the top of the record in the patient file. Please note that only the first three lines of the note will appear in the preview window. These notes can be added in one of two methods. The first method is by selecting the note icon in the top of that record. And the second method is by selecting the menu icon, which is the three little dots, and selecting the note option. An add window will open and you can enter the information necessary. And once you've completed, click Save to finalize that entry. To edit any of these notes, you can access the content in the same two methods. Our next few tips relate to recording consultations in Gentu. If you create your consultation notes in Gentu, the first field to complete is the reasons for encounter. This can be a free text field, or you can add to a list of commonly used reasons to select from the drop-down menu. Adding to the list of reasons for encounter can streamline the process for creating consultations and improve the consistency and accuracy of your data entry. You can add, edit, or delete a reason for encounter in your settings and reasons for encounter. To add a new reason to the list, select the Add button in the top right-hand corner and enter your text and save. You can also edit and delete your reasons from this list by clicking on the reason and either editing the name or selecting the Delete button. There's no limit to how many reasons can be added. However, this list is intended for speed and convenience. Therefore, too many reasons for encounter may make this feature slightly less efficient to use. Another great feature of the consultation records is being able to customize your consult template. So not every doctor or clinical team member works in the same way, and Gentu allows each provider to select the fields they wish to show in their consult notes. When you open up a new consult window, you'll see a settings cog in the top right-hand corner of the window. This settings cog allows you to edit the consult template. You can tick the fields you wish to include in your template, untick those you do not wish to see, and you can also click and drag these items to reorder how they'll appear in your template. And as you make these changes, they should appear immediately on the consultation note. In addition to this, if the pre-formatted fields in the consultation note don't cover what you require, you can add your own custom consult fields in the template. In the Edit Consult window, select the plus text field option at the bottom of this list to create your own. Type in what you'd like your consult field to be titled, and when you're finished, you can select the tick icon to finalize or the cross to cancel. These custom consult fields can also be dragged into the appropriate order for your template. Custom consult fields can be deleted by selecting the trash icon. If any consults have previously used a custom consult field, and that field's deleted from the template, the information will remain on the consultation note for that patient, even after deleting. Deleting the field just prevents it from being used on future consult notes. Consultation fields can also be used via references in your letters and your letter templates, and any custom field you add to the list will also be available to use. To add a field to your letters or letter templates, from within either that letter or the template, click onto the references icon, select consultations, and choose the field or fields you wish to include. Now we'll take a look at using text shortcuts in consultations. Text shortcuts allow users to create abbreviations for frequently typed information. You can add a text shortcut for words, sentences, or even paragraphs of text, and the shortcuts created are specific to the user who's added them. At present, text shortcuts are only available for consult notes. To add to your list of text shortcuts, when creating a consultation note, click into any of the fields and you'll see the message that the text shortcuts are now active. Select Configure and you'll be presented with a list of your existing shortcuts. To add a new one, click on the Add Shortcut button. Enter the abbreviation, which is the code you'll type to use the shortcut, and then enter the text you would like to replace your code. When you've finished, select Save. To then use your abbreviation, click into the consult field you wish to populate, and when you type the abbreviation, followed by the spacebar, the text will expand. And some things to note with the abbreviations, they're case sensitive, so if you create an abbreviation in capitals, it'll need to be typed in capital letters in order for it to expand on the consult note. Your abbreviation needs to be at least 2 characters, but there are no limits to the length of the abbreviation of the phrase. The abbreviation can only be letters and numbers, no special characters, but you can use any characters within your phrase. Our last feature for the day is the consultation wrap-up. From within the patient record, there is a wrap-up button, which aids in the communication of billing instructions to the admin team. Selecting the wrap-up button will produce a window to select the items you wish to bill, as well as a space to provide any other information to the admin team. By default, the most recent appointment will be selected when opening the wrap-up window. If you need to select a different date, you can do so by opening the drop-down menu next to the appointment. The first time you select the wrap-up feature, the list of available billing items will be empty. You can add to your commonly used list by manually searching for the billing item or billing set. Once you've added some commonly used items, you can tick those required for billing the appointment and add any notes to communicate, such as billing instructions or arranging a follow-up appointment. Once completed, click Send to send the item information through to the patient's appointment. Once the wrap-up's been sent to the patient's appointment, the admin team will be able to preview the information from the appointment book. Opening the appointment window, you'll now have the option to select Invoice. By selecting this Invoice button, the item information will flow through and populate onto the invoice. Using this workflow can reduce double handling, as well as ensuring your billing accuracy. If your clinic uses patient payments by EasyDebit, from this invoice window, You'll also be able to send your patient an email with a link to pay their invoice online.